Yo, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in, and thank God that we have football on the horizon. It is right around the corner. Thank you, Jesus.
Woo! Football!
Yeah! That we got football here. It is time to get back into my weekly power rankings now. I will let you guys know before the season starts. Every week, this list is going to be fluid. There's not going to be same rankings. Like, depending on what my personal eye test sees, and this is just my eye test, things will change week by week. Even now, I'm going by a little bit, maybe roster additions, maybe preseasons, all that type of things. But I'm not going to make this intro too much longer because we got some things to discuss. Without NFL power rankings, it begin 2024. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Okay, so how I'm gonna go about this is not in team order. Just for this week, I'm going to go off the records based off of last season. So we're gonna go with the Carolina Panthers first, and I'm gonna put them at a D ranking. It's interesting to see how Bryce Young is gonna develop coming into this season, and that is one of the things that are gonna be, I think, kind of a timetable or a thing for what I really see with this Carolina Panthers football team. We know last year was an absolute disaster, and as a Bears fan, I can thank you for that. But his team was just not good last year, and it's interesting to see with some of the things that they did this offseason, whether it's Xavier Legette with trading Brian Burns, which I think is going to be a bit of a hurt to this football team. We shall see what this Panthers team be in 2024, but I'm going to put him at D for now. We have to see what Bryce Young does in year 2 in the new system. Next, we're going to go with the Washington Commanders. I'm going to put the Commanders at a C. I really do believe in Jaden Daniels. I really do believe in bringing Austin Eckler in, bringing Dan Quinn as the defensive coordinator, and the weapons that they have with Terry McLaurin from The Ohio State University, Austin Eckler. I like where this Commanders team is heading. I still think it has some room to grow, and so does Jaden Daniels as a quarterback, but I do believe in what this team can be in 2024, so I'm going to put the Commanders at C. Next is the Arizona Cardinals. This one's tough because outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. from The Ohio State University, who they drafted, I'm not too much big on their receiving core, especially trading Rondale Moore for Desmond Ridder, who they ended up cutting anyway. Defensively, I don't know. I'm going to put the Cardinals at a D. I still believe this team possibly could be one of the worst teams in football. Despite having Kyler Murray's athleticism back for a full, healthy season, I'm not too big on the Arizona Cardinals at this point. So we're going to put them in a D. Next is the New England Patriots. I'm also going to put them at a D. I know it sounds crazy to put a lot of teams starting at a D, but a lot of football teams, I mean, the Patriots just, they don't have a lot to work with, especially the wide receiving core. And I understand starting Jacoby Brissett over Drake May because his team is not really built for having Drake May to succeed, even though I think May will play at some point during the year. Let's just weather the ship and just keep developing Drake May. And I think that's all the Patriots season should be about to begin with. And with Trey Matthew Judon, this team is just, it's in rebuild mode, but that's okay. We know that we have a direction to go. Next, we're going to go to the Los Angeles Chargers. I'm putting the Chargers at a B. Now, it might sound kind of crazy because I think they will be a step above teams in the C, like the Commanders. I think they'll be in the middle of the pack. I think the impact that Jim Harbaugh can bring to this football team is going to be a little bit different. And Justin Herbert being fully back healthy. Defensively, they are getting older with Mack and Bosa, Derwin James, who I absolutely love to watch play football. But I think this is going to be a middle-of-the-pack football team. I'm going to put them at a B. Next is going to be the New York Giants. And I'm putting them at a D just because of the simple fact that I do not believe in Daniel Jones. Point blank, period. Don't believe in him. I do not believe in Daniel Jones. Defensively, I do believe Kayvon Thibodeau and losing Xavier McKinney is going to hurt. And losing Saquon Barkley, the engine of this offense is going to hurt. They did get better on the offensive line. I'm just not a believer in Daniel Jones. And I think this season will show it. I'm going to be honest. Next, we're going to go to the Tennessee Titans. I think this could be a middle-of-the-pack football team to be honest. I like some of the things that I saw in Will Levis in year one. I like some of the things that they did this offseason, whether it's bringing in Calvin Ridley, whether it's bringing in a guy like a Tyler Boyd. You have DeAndre Hopkins, who's actually injured at the moment, which sucks. You bring in Tony Pollard from the Cowboys. Defensively, I do like some of the things that they have on that defensive side of the ball. And bringing in a Jerry Sneed doesn't hurt anything defensively, but they do have a tough test week one, which I'll get into that in a different video. It's my Bears. So, Titans are going to leave it a B. Next, we're going to have the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to put the Vikings at a C because it sucked at losing J.J. McCarthy, even though he went to Michigan. You guys know I'm a Buckeye fan. But I really did like some of the things I saw in McCarthy, and I thought McCarthy may have had the shot to win that quarterback job. But it's interesting to see what they're going to be with Sam Darnold. They let do some pieces defensively, even though Dallas Turner, who they drafted, I think could be a very good steal. They brought in Aaron Jones on offense, but it's just that quarterback situation with Sam Darnold, who I do believe Sam Darnold has got a big of a wrong deal in his career. So we shall see how things go with Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota. But, man, losing J.J. McCarthy, I think is going to be rough. Next, we're going to go to my Chicago Bears, and I'm going to put the Bears at a B team. Even though, I'll spoil it now, I do have the Bears predicted to make the playoffs. And I do believe in this defense, wholeheartedly believe in this defense with guys like a Tremaine Edmunds, with guys like T.J. Edwards, Montez Sweat, Jaylon Johnson, Kyler Gordon, and I can go on and on. This is my team, so I know. But offensively, I think it's going to be a bigger jump with a better offensive system with Shane Waldron. I think a quarterback whose ceiling is very high in Caleb Williams. You add Keenan Allen, you add Odunze in the draft, you add DeAndre Swift. I think the offensive line will be in. They didn't really do many roster moves for the offensive line because I think it's a lot of the same pieces. Whether it's Jenkins, whether it's a guy like Braxton Jones down there right from last year's draft, Nate Davis. You did bring in Coleman Shelton, who I think is going to be starting center, but I think this Bears team as a whole, I think they kind of steal those 3 games that they blew last year, and they're going to be a B team and a playoff team. So, those are my thoughts on my Chicago Bears. Next, we have the Atlanta Falcons. I'm also going to put the Falcons at a B. I think Raheem Morris is the coach of the year. I think this Falcons offense, with a healthy Kirk Cousins, is going to be much better than what they showed in 2023. Bijan Robinson, I think, is going to take a next step and be the bigger weapon in this Falcons offense. You have Drake London. You brought in Darnell Mooney from the Bears. It sucks that Rondale Moore got hurt, and then on this defense, you bring in who I think is a very, very good safety in Justin Simmons to pair with Jesse Bates. I think that could possibly be the best safety combination that we have in football. And I still wish they would have brought in Dallas Turner, but I think this Falcons team offensively, even though it's in a weak NFC South, I think they will take that step and be a playoff team in 2024. Next, we're going to have the New York Jets, and I'm going to put the Jets. Now, this one is a complicated one because I do believe in this Jets defense. I'm going to put the Jets at A for now. This one's a complicated one because I was thinking of putting him at B, but I just think Aaron Rodgers healthy with this top 5, top 10 defense that the Jets have with Robert Saleh. Breece Hall, hopefully he's healthy for a full season. Garrett Wilson with the Ohio State University. They have Jermaine Johnson. They have C.J. Mosley. Quentin Williams, who is probably one of the best defensive tackles, if not the best defensive tackle that we have in football, next to Chris Jones. Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed. I believe this Jets defense is a very good unit, and I believe offensively with the healthy Aaron Rodgers, this Jets team will be a very, very dangerous football team. Next, we're going to have the Baltimore Ravens. This was tough, but I'm gonna put the I'm gonna put the Ravens at A. I'm gonna put the Ravens at A. You cannot count out Lamar Jackson. Derrick Henry added to this team. I think it's gonna be a big boost. Zay Flowers, who had a very good rookie year. Mark Andrews, hopefully he's back healthy for the year. Defensively, you did lose Patrick Queen, but you still have Marlon Humphrey. You still have Roquan Smith. So I think defensively they will be good. Offensively, we shall see if those weapons that they have can continue to be weapons, and Derrick Henry does help. But I'll get into why I think things may be different later. And I kind of skipped over records, but the Ravens had the best record. I just wanted to do something different. Next, we're going to have the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to put the Raiders in C. Gardner Minshew is an okay quarterback. He has that Ryan Fitzpatrick type vibe for me. It's like Minshew is going to have his thing early, but it's going to fall off. And they didn't do much to address quarterback. Devontae Adams, I think, is going to be traded at some point during the year. So don't be surprised by that. So this Raiders team, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. All over the place. Denver Broncos, I'm going to put at that C level as well. Bo Nix, I do like a little bit of what I've seen in Bo Nix. Offensively, I don't know what this team is going to be. Sean Payton, I do know is at the charge, but I'm not sure what this team is going to be offensively. We got to see how Bo Nix does throughout the year. Defensively, I think Patrick Surtain, in my opinion, best corner in football. Best corner in football, in my opinion, is PS2. Defensively, I think it's still things to be kind of sought out through there, but I think this Broncos is a C team. Next is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they'll be right in that competition with the Atlanta Falcons for that NFC South Division crown. And my thing is Baker Mayfield, can he be year 2 great? And like he was last year in year 1. Can he have a consistent back-to-back productive seasons? Defensively, I know they lost a few things with Devin White, with Carlton Davis in the trade. Offensively, you do have, I think, the most underrated player in football, in my opinion, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Bucky Irvin, who went to my alma mater, Hillcrest High School. Shout out to Bucky Irvin, shout out to Hillcrest. And you have Rashad White in that backfield as well. So I think this Buccaneers offense could be well. Todd Bowles led the defense with this blitz-heavy scheme, so I'm interested to see what that's going to be. But I think they'll be right in that area with the Falcons in contention for that division. Next, we're going to have the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to go with the Packers at an A team. I know it's kind of crazy for me to do this, but I think with Jordan Love going to the second season, I'm not going to lie. I see Jordan Love could be a very good quarterback, even though I think that contract is a bit of an overpay. And defensively, they did bring in Xavier McKinney. I think Jai Alexander, with all the craziness that went on last year with him, I think he could be a good player. Quay Walker, Rashawn Gary, Preston Smith. So I do think this is going to be a very good unit. New defensive scheme. Offensively, with some of the weapons in Watkins, Christian Watson, and I think that running game with Josh Jacobs can be steady. So as much as I'm believing in Josh Jacobs, a little bit overrated in my opinion, but he's still productive back. So 18 for the Packers, believe it or not. Buffalo Bills, I'm only putting the Bills on the B team because they lost a lot on defense. Had Poyer, Jadavius White, even though he's been hurt the last couple of years. They lost Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis. I'm just interested to see how this team is going to look. You got Von Miller coming back healthy, but he is at an older age, so we're going to see how that's going to go. And they lost Milano already. I don't know. This team, as much as I love Josh Allen, the pieces around him are either hurt or the pieces around him are just not there anymore. So, and next we're going to go to the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm kind of been all over the place. Seattle Seahawks, I'm going to put right at that B tier because Geno Smith, Joshua Smith-Njigba from The Ohio State University, DK Metcalf, and Tyler Lockett, very good offense. I love Kenneth Walker III. I'm really loving him as a running back and as a football player. And defensively, Witherspoon, Woolen, I like that secondary combination, the corner combination. I'm just interested to see what the pass rush is going to be like. So I'm putting them in the B range. Next, we're going to have the New Orleans Saints. I think it's time to rebuild in New Orleans. I think Spencer Rattler, as much as crazy as me to say this, he's going to play at some point this season. As much as I like Derek Carr, I ain't going to say I like Derek Carr. As much as the Raiders thing I think wasn't his fault. As much as I think Derek Carr is beginning a bad rep, I just think his career is just not that. He's not the same quarterback anymore, and we can have the laundry list of injuries that he's had, the inconsistent play. And I think this football team, and it's a lot of older pieces on that defensive unit, I think it's in the state of heading towards a rebuild. And I think Spencer Rattler is going to start at some point in the season. Mark my words. I'm recorded, clip it. Spencer Rattler is going to be the quarterback for the Saints at some point this year. That's just my opinion. Next, we got the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to put the Colts at that C tier as a football team. And it's interesting to see Anthony Richardson coming back. Defensively, what are they going to look like? Kenny Boyd, DeForest Buckner. Offensively, I still think they got a solid offensive line. Jonathan Taylor. But I think Anthony Richardson's play is going to tell the season for me. He didn't play much last year due to injuries, so we shall see. The Cincinnati Bengals, I'm going to have the Bengals at the S tier. I'm kind of going all over the place right now. And I think the Bengals, like I said, is probably my Super Bowl pick, in my opinion. The Bengals are going to be my Super Bowl pick. I think healthy Joe Burrow, MVP. Jamar Chase, conversation offensive player of the year. Defensively, I think adding Von Bell back with Trey Hendrickson is going to be a very big improvement for this defense. Cam Taylor-Britt, very good improvement on that defense. So, S tier for the Bengals. Browns, I had the Browns missing the playoffs this year. B tier. I could put him in a C tier mainly because we don't know what Deshaun Watson is going to be, but I'm going to leave him at B. I love that defensive unit. Ward, the reigning defensive player of the year, Garrett, Amari Cooper. They were interested in the Brandon Ayuk trade, but did not happen. Nick Chubb's going to miss the first 4 games, so I'm going to have the Browns at a B tier. Next, I'm just going to go random. Kansas City Chiefs. I'm still going to put the Chiefs at the S tier, reigning 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. Patrick Mahomes, enough said. Andy Reid, enough said. Chris Jones, enough said. Travis Kelce, enough said. Still, I think one of the better teams in football. I still think they're probably going to end up as that number 1 seed. You know, they didn't last year. But, I mean, you can't just count out this team. You just can't. You can't. And speaking of Super Bowl picks, I know that was crazy, but Lions, S tier. Jared Goff. I'm not the biggest Jared Goff fan, but he just doesn't cost you games. He may not win you a game, doesn't cost you games. Defensively, I think they will be better. Offensively, the 2-headed running game of Gibbs and Montgomery, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, the wide receiver, and Laporta at tight end. I think this is a really good football team along with, I think, one of the best offensive line units that we have in the NFL with Sewell, Decker, Ragnow. Lions. NFC champions, in my opinion. Cowboys, A tier. Now, I'm not the biggest Cowboys fan, and I don't even hate the Cowboys. I hate the fans more than I hate the team. But defensively, with the healthy Trayvon Diggs, DeRon Bland, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, offensively, I'm still seeing this offensive line is going to be as strong, even though Zach Martin is there. Running game, we're interested to see what that's going to be like. But they did bring back CD Lamb on that contract. Dak Prescott is playing for a lot. I think it's his job at this point. And Mike McCarthy, I think, is coaching for his job. Cowboys, I still think is going to be NFC East champions, but we shall see what the playoffs are going to look like. Houston Texans, I'm going to put the Texans at A tier. And no, this is not my bias. It's towards C.J. Stroud from the Ohio State University. I like their defense, led by DeMeco Ryans, who's been one of the better defensive minds over the last few years. That defense improved with Stingley, Anderson, and Petre coming into more experience in the NFL. Offensively, C.J. Stroud, amazing rookie year. Then you add Joe Mixon and Stephon Diggs to Collins, Dale, and Dalton Schultz. Laremy Tunsil, who is right there with Trent Williams for the best left tackle in football. I'm going to pick them to win the AFC South and possibly make it to the conference championship game. That is a big possibility for them. And speaking of conference championships, The NFC defending champion San Francisco 49ers, I still put them in the S tier. And bringing Ayuk back is going to be a big help because, honestly, this might be crazy. I think he's the better receiver out of him and Debo. Brandon Ayuk is a better fully wide receiver out of him and Debo. I think Debo is better, more of a X factor, more of a weapon. But as far as pure wide receiver goes, I'm putting Brandon Ayuk over Debo. And Brock Purdy, for another full year in his offense. CMC, the reigning offensive player of the year. Defensively, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, Hufanga, who's going to be back healthy, and I think that's going to make a big difference in that back end of that secondary. This football team is dangerous. Still get that Trent Williams situation, Lumen. They better get that solved. But S tier. The Jaguars, I'm going to put the Jaguars at a B tier. They did add a guy like Gabe Davis to Christian Kirk, who that contract is not looking as bad as we thought it was at first. Trevor Lawrence extension, Doug Peterson, and I think defensively the improvements is not going to be that type of letdown that it was in 2023. So I'm going to put the Jacksonville Jaguars at a B. LA Rams, and I also think that's a middle of the pack football team in the Rams. I think the Rams are a very good football team. And, well, I'm not going to say, like, very good football team. I think they have that playoff sneaky type of team. It's going to see if Stafford can stay healthy. Defensively, I like Kobe Turner, some of the things that they do on defense. And offensively, it's just, I think the Stafford health. Kyron Williams, who is a very good running back. And they did bring Blake Corum in from that team up north. But I think they're in that middle of the pack and potentially could be a very good football team if Stafford is healthy. Dolphins, we're going to put them at an A tier. I think this team is going to take over the Bills for the AFC East division because of the things that the Bills lost. And even though the Dolphins still have some injury questions on defense, whether it's Phillips, whether it's Chubb. And offensively, you got Hill, you got Mostert, you got Tua, you got Waddle. So I think this offense with McDaniel could be a very good offense, and I think that's going to overtake the Bills to be division champions in the AFC East. Philadelphia Eagles, I'm putting the Eagles at B, mainly because defensively, I still don't trust them after what happened last year. They have a lot of young pieces, whether it's Cooper DeJean, whether it's Quinion Mitchell, Nakobe Dean, and I'm still questioning somewhat on this defense, and I'm going to put the Steelers right there with them. Both the Pennsylvania teams are B tier. I trust Steelers defense, don't know the offense. I trust the Eagles offense a bit more, don't know about the defense. So these are my rankings heading into week 1. Leave guys' thoughts in the comments down below. I am APW Sports signing out, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.